But the major disruptions on a global scale, I think we've seen in all of these new startups, hundreds and hundreds of them in the UK, in Germany, in the US, and all over the world. We see these startups, and they are disruptive, they are challenging, but I wouldn't say they are not the new iPhone. They are really challenging the existing business and the industry, but they do that with the technology. They do it with millennials, younger people, so they are far better when it comes to distribution channels. They are far better at being out on social media. Existing big companies, I mean, we of course try to be there, all of us, all around the globe, but these guys coming up from nowhere, this is where they live. This is where they swim around. So I think that is the biggest disruptor so far, that they have been able to start speaking the language of the millennials that are their customers, definitely. Plus the fact that they are starting off without the whole legacy issue. They're starting off fresh, and that's also an advantage for them.
I think it's very difficult for the large corporates because you would cannibalize yourself to some degree. So there's two approaches that people take. Either they put their head in the sand and don't do anything and carry on and doing marginal improvements, or they actually go out and partner with disruptive and almost keep that outside of their normal business. There's very few, and I think Allianz is probably one of them, that try to move the whole elephant. But a lot of people take agile approaches where they partner up with startups and help them, but keep it outside of the normal run of the business. That we've seen with quite a few companies. And there's also a difference between tech startup companies in the insurance industry and tech startup companies in other industry, in as much as most of these insurtech companies look to partner existing players. So we've engaged with quite a few of them over the last 12 months or so in South Africa. And these people have got great ideas, but then they're being hit by regulation. And that's very difficult for a startup company to actually deal with. And that's where they come to us, and that's one of the value contributions we can make to them by helping them maneuver regulation so that it is compliant. I don't believe in trying to detour legislation and regulation. So a type of Uber style, ignoring local legislation. I'd rather play within the regulation and do things correctly. And that's where we can help them.
Well, I think it was like you said. I mean, those are our future workforce and our future customers. So ignoring them is, of course, impossible. It's not only stupid; it's really sawing off the branch you're sitting on. We came to realize that the tricky part, and that we have known for a long time, the tricky part is how do we act? What do we do? Journey Re was a project that is not a fix for all, but it's a little baby step towards getting towards there. And if we just start taking up all the positive things that we got out of the whole project as a group, getting to know these fantastic young talents, so absolutely bright people all over the world, not the least here in Johannesburg, getting these new bright ideas, getting them to look at our industry with totally fresh eyes and coming up with things that we thought we had thought of but hadn't. And so all in all, it was a fantastically successful project. And as Achim, I think, talked about as well, this is not the end of it for us. We're going to continue with similar things, definitely, because it was that positive for us as a group.
Yeah, and I think there's two things. The one is obviously Journey Re is almost an external project. You set up groups that work external. They've got access to the organization. Whatever knowledge they wanted to have, they would get from us. But other than that, they would be external. Spend quite a lot of time on mentoring, coaching them, but almost as a third party. And then you need to look at your own organization and how do you adapt that. And that's obviously a more ongoing kind of process. But I mean, in our office in Johannesburg, we are very close to the 50% millennials already. And we recently moved office. And there were a lot of considerations why we moved office, but this was definitely one of them, that we want to be an attractive place for young people to work. And so far it seems to be working out quite well. So you've got to do both. You've got to look at your existing organization and how do you shift that in the right direction, but that's incremental steps. And then you need to experiment almost on the outside of it and learn from that and see how you can bring that into the organization. I guess you're referring to the Amity concept. So the guys there are all in their 20s, not the traditional insurance buyers. They're probably, to be fair, are still covered under their parents' cover as we speak at the moment, but they wouldn't even think of buying insurance in the traditional way. So they looked at the insurance industry, what works, what doesn't work, and one of the things that they picked up on is that there's so much insurance fraud, and we're all paying with that with our premium. So they were trying to design a process using behavioral science and other things, how you can actually reduce that and create affinity amongst the users of insurance, because you're much less likely to defraud your friend than you're likely to defraud an insurance company. I mean, insurance fraud is worldwide probably the most commonly accepted form of crime. And if you can take that out and the cost related to that out, or at least reduce it, you've got a very propelling business case. So that is one part that sits behind this new initiative.
Hello, this is Thomas Barenthein and Achim Klennert from Hannover Re. We're here with Risk Africa, and we love it, especially
the white couch.